go ahead and open up the meeting here on January 11th, Shelby County Supervisors. Anybody have a conflict of interest on anything on the agenda today?
None.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Charlie, second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approval of minutes for January 3rd. Any questions? Mark, any changes?
No, sir.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Resolution 2022-6 approving the bond purchase agreement for the sale of general obligation emergency communication bonds series 2022A. Chip, good morning.
Good morning, folks. I think you can see the screen and can everyone hear me okay?
Now it's working up there. I think I need to shut the phone off.
Hang on.
Hang on. Yep, you're almost too good.
You don't hear me double time there.
Yeah, just hang on a second.
You okay? You bet.
Ask him to see if he can mute himself.
Or should I hang up? Should I hang up the phone?
I've muted my cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, you're coming through.
Okay,
Not work.
okay,
Gonna hang up the phone.
Understood. Thank you.
okay, go ahead. You sound good. Everybody hear him okay? Okay. Proceed.
Okay, so the requested board action for today really serves the purpose of locking in the interest rates on the general obligation emergency communications equipment bonds. It includes a bond purchase agreement, and we had set a contract for consideration by the board to serve this purpose. There's also a resolution that was provided by Dorsey and Whitney to help really provide guidance for the board action if so approved. So just in terms of a summary for the bond issue, we're proceeding with a 5-year payment structure for the financing. The average interest rate to bond investors is an average yield of 0.92%. And as I shared with the board, we had contacted all banks with a physical location in Shelby County to offer the bonds. There are 7 banks or financial institutions with a branch location in the county. 4 of those put in orders for the bond issue, so it had very good local support. The financing takes into account the cash on hand to be contributed from the 911 fund, from the Emergency Management Association, and from the county, and that helps to buy down the financing to a principal amount of $1,585,000. If you go to I'll just skip around a little bit here if you don't mind, but in the bound handout, the second tab is the number run for the financing, and I'll bring that up on the screen here as well.
Can you see that well
So what this
with the camera?
is,
Can you see what
so
camera? Or
I've
you
got
want to
the
turn?
full price of the radios and the consoles under the uses of funds. And what's an offset to that is the system discount from Motorola of $129,447, which is shown under the uses. The cash on hand elements are shown there under sources as well. The par amount of the bond issue is $1,585,000. There's an original issue premium of $53,053,020.8, and that helps buy down the principal amount. So I think really one compelling part about this, and really where it helps demonstrate the cost-efficient nature of the financing, I look at that. So that $53,000 of original issue premium is generated between the difference in the coupon rates and the bond yields that investors receive, and that's shown most distinctly on this page, numbered page 3, and behind tab 2. So if you look at the difference between the 2% and the yields, that gives you receive that on the closing date of January 27th. You receive that $53,000 up front. And then if you look at the debt service cost on the financing, your overall interest cost is roughly $107,000. Well, of that $107,000, you're receiving $53,000 up front. So I look at that as an offset to the interest cost because that's otherwise principal that would have to be issued on the bond issue. We're reducing the principal with that $53,000 of original issue premium. So take the $107,000 minus the $53,000 of original issue premium. Your net interest cost really is $54,298. The difference between those two numbers, and I think that's a pretty impressive number. You're borrowing $1,585,000 and only paying $54,298 in interest. So the payment structure helps get you to that cost-efficient financing structure, and really puts the county in a good position for doing a financing, something that you're not always apt to do and not always wanting to do, but I think this situation necessitates it, and you should feel comfortable about it, just given it's a cost-efficient financing. I've also included behind the first tab in the bound handout, really the first item, Exhibit 1, behind the first tab, is a review of interest rates. This includes the 5-year U.S. Treasury since 1962, roughly 60 years. And you can just see what a historically low point we're at for interest rates over that 60-year time period. Next page, Exhibit 2, reviews the levy impact. This is the net levy impact that takes into account, of course, the cash on hand being applied. So it's roughly 33 cents as shown in column J. And then the final page behind the first tab is really just a summary that lays out the average rate, the cash being applied, the debt service levy, and really we're benefiting now in large part because this is the first time in the county's history that your taxable valuation is over $1 billion. So that helps drive the levy rate down. And then what's shown under item 4 on Exhibit 3 are various annual tax impacts and monthly tax impacts based on various property classifications. So the action, again, at today's board meeting, if you should decide to proceed, locks in the interest rate. There'll be, if you move ahead today, there'll be another set of proceedings, and this is the final requested board action for your January 18th board meeting. That'll be a resolution authorizing the issuance, and then funds will be delivered to the county on January 27th. And with that, I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do you guys have any questions? Pretty self-explanatory.
Did we basically just take the lowest bid then, Chip? I mean, were they all in the same ballpark?
That's right. That's what we did, and helping get the bonds out to as many investors as possible. The fundamental benefit by doing that for the county is helping drive down the interest cost. So that's what we're able to achieve with the financing.
I was glad to see the local banks participate. That was very nice.
Absolutely. That helps have a strong community. It helps just have community support and community involvement for you're not a frequent borrower, and that's it's good to have them involved when you do go to the bond market.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Mark?
No. I will, but not today. It'll just be administration questions.
So we need a motion to set the interest rate for the bond and then issue the bond agreement on the 18th, correct, Chip?
That's correct. Yes, please.
Make that motion.
Motion by Charlie,
Second.
second by Darren. Any other questions? You guys have any questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir, for
All right.
Thanks,
being
Chad.
online with us today.
And I will be there at the meeting next week on the 18th. So
Are you
pretty
sure?
much look forward to that.
We hope so.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Right. You too. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, imaging bid.
Yeah, I'll go get Geraldine,
Okay.
because I told her I didn't know how long this would take.
I can call her if you think it's
Okay.
quicker.
So what they did, Bob, was
Who bought the bonds? Which bank?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, but I didn't know if
It's
that
in
was,
here,
It is in here somewhere?
was it a
Yeah.
local one for sure?
Well, they go with the main big one and the other ones participate, the way I understand it. It was.
The big one bought it, UMB.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
it.
they, I don't know how it is, they resell them locally, and I don't understand the bond market.
The other
But
ones
what-
participate a portion of it.
Yeah, okay. That's in here somewhere though?
If not, I can get
Send Carolyn
clarification.
down, please.
Okay, thank you.
They were just gonna offer it to the local banks, and he said if you go statewide, you'll get cheaper rates.
It's on this.
So they went statewide with it, and
Did it say who it was?
the local banks didn't want them, they wanted to participate,
Sure.
so.
I seen it when I read
It
this.
drove down
Yeah, so
our
did I.
cost.
So the total
When
interest
did
rate
you
was
read
zero
it?
point
Did
nine
you get
two
this
percent.
before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
last
so-
week.
So it's the 2% coupon rate that they're talking about.
Yeah, it's gonna cost us $58,000 in
Well, I didn't think
interest.
he knew, he didn't know
What's
last
the
week who
2%
it was.
coupon rate then?
No,
I have
it was
no
in this
idea.
contract.
I don't know how it
It was
works.
the 6th, Thursday the 6th, I got all of it.
It's kinda like
Because they're using that for
when I
their
do
interest.
taxes and that, Bob,
But he
I
didn't
just
know who
go by the
had
dollars.
bid yet,
Yeah.
did he?
How many dollars do we need?
Yeah.
How do we get this to work out?
All right. Okay.
Maybe one of the bankers
It was right when I
will be able
opened
to
it
tell
up.
you.
Well,
Well, you can usually figure it out. I've
It
done
is
this
endorsing
before,
with
but
it.
No,
you
no,
got two different
That's who you were-
percentages, so I wasn't sure which one to use.
It's probably on your email, not on.
Maybe I'll call Chip. Yeah.
I seen it.
Yeah.
He's been doing it over
Yeah.
20 years.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
I just
I
read
think
the
he
dang
works
thing
at the
this
city.
morning.
Does he? Smart.
Well, if it was a local one, it would've stuck out at you, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
I
he
think-
listed the local ones that participated.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right. But they didn't end up with it, or,
Well, they're a part of it.
okay, gotcha.
They all join together. Is that the way it works, Steve?
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
they have, each have their piece of the pie. But they have one main one that they underwrite with.
UMB,
Yeah, that's who it was. Yep.
Who's that?
UMB.
United Missouri Bank.
Okay.
And apparently they've
That's what we were
got,
looking for, okay.
they're in Iowa also.
Okay.
Or that's my experience, what it stands for.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't you trust him?
Do you have the list of the local banks right there?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Farmers Trust and Savings, Mid-States Bank, Shelby County State Bank, and United Bank of Iowa.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
And they all ended up being a
A
participant?
participant,
Okay.
whatever they wanted of.
Okay.
I must have grabbed every paper but that one. So I know, well, Gerald's here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I could have.
I snuck in.
Okay, you wanna sit over here so you can be on the camera? Maybe next to Alex or
Thanks for
whatever?
leaving this up.
Let me sit.
Yeah.
Yours fine?
That'll work today.
Okay. Ahead.
Things didn't go as planned.
So the imaging bid,
Imaging bid,
I
yes.
kinda call it scanning.
Well, that's,
We already did the
Same
scanning,
thing.
this is the imaging.
There you go.
yes. So we had two companies bid on this. One was ArcaSearch and one was COT Systems. The bids actually were very close. ArcaSearch came in at $145,988, so 146 roughly. And COT the same, 146. The difference was the yearly fee that we would have to pay for them to host this. ArcaSearch was like $9,500 yearly fee. COT is $3,000. So that's a big difference. The other difference was ArcaSearch is fairly new to doing recorders or courthouses, the auditor and the recorder. They started off doing newspapers, that sort of thing. So I think they've only been doing recorders for about 5 years. COT system has been around for many, many, many years. The girls and I, and we had Taryn included in this, and Mark too, kind of looked at the ease of searching the two systems, and we do think when ArcaSearch showed theirs, I thought, oh wow, that looks really easy, but then when I went in myself and tried to search, it was not as user-friendly as COT systems is. That's very user-friendly. So my recommendation would be to go with COT systems to do this. They would go ahead, and since we have our records scanned, that saved us quite a bit of money having our records scanned already. So,
Carolyn, could you tell everybody a few of the reasons, the positives, why we're looking at this? And you know, what Don talked about is, you know, he said like he mostly deals with counties, and 60% of the counties in the state of Iowa are participating in this already. But
right.
why do
So
people
one
want
of
to
the
do
big
it?
reasons is people can search our records without having to come into the office. You have not only genealogists, but you have surveyors, you have attorneys, the banks. A lot of them search our records in order to find certain things that they're looking for. So this is something that they can do from their office and not have to come into our office to do that. They can make copies when they find it, which we get a lot of requests for, you know, the attorneys will call and say, hey, can you send us a copy of this certain document, or can you look and see if there's a release of this mortgage? So by having these all online, they can all search from their desk and not have to come into the office, which is going to save us with traffic. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Just lost it.
COVID.
Well, yeah, definitely for COVID. I mean, so that with the COVID and anything else, I mean, we're cutting down on that. So we're not having people in the office and for the COVID reasons. And
Just to recap, these girls spent the last two years?
3
years scanning all the documents. This company is just now going to make it so it's searchable on a website
Accessible.
for the
Right.
public.
Right, so they're going to take all those that we scanned and get them on a,
Right.
And back them up.
yes.
Yes, 3 backups. There are certain things that cannot be put on the website, such as birth certificates,
Birth, death, marriage.
certain things that are
military
private,
documents, right,
but everything else would be accessible to the public. So
correct.
again, she's got her reasons listed here, cutting down on face-to-face contacts, you know. It positions us well for the next pandemic as well as
Right.
if we get through
right.
this one.
And that was our goal down the road. I would say it came a little sooner with the availability of the
Yeah.
money, this one-time money, you know, from ARPA.
Now, most counties, they are actually scanning the documents as well. How much did he tell us we saved by doing it ourselves?
100,000 or more, depending on the size of your county. It probably would have
Because we had it
cost
done
us,
already.
right, it probably would have cost us 150,000 more to have them come in and scan them. So, and I think we ended up, the total cost that was like under 30,000 that we
Yeah, we
did it
leased a
for.
machine for depending on what machine it was, for
Right.
$7,000 to $9,000 a year for 3 years. So compared to
Thank you for the
hiring
foresight.
them,
I mean, because if you wouldn't have been ahead of the game, it wouldn't look like this.
Right, right.
A lot of hard work on you girls' part.
Yeah, Carrie and Tammy did a lot of it. They did a great job, so I have to credit them too.
So how long is this bid good for?
You know what?
Would you say October or
I
something?
think,
No.
You
no,
serious?
it's,
No,
no, it's not.
March.
Yeah, Mark, do you remember?
It was middle of March or something like
It
that.
was very soon.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like
I was gonna say
60 days,
Yeah, I was gonna say like,
but he was
60
advising
days.
us, if we're serious about this, to not wait the 60 days so we can get on the list to get the process started
Right.
sooner than later. Because he said
Right.
there's quite a bit out there, hanging out there.
well, because everybody knows with the ARPA monies, I mean, all of them wanna go
if
do
they haven't
this.
done it, they want to.
So,
How does this affect our funds, Steve?
I went through each of our 6 categories, and we have, this would fall under the county infrastructure department services, And so we have approved the Fair Board project under that line items. That was 70,500. Other items that we had said we're gonna go to this was the air ducts, the women's restroom, and then the men's restroom, it's planned for, okay? It isn't done yet, but it's planned for. So if we add this project of $148,945, correct? We will have spent $264,228 of the $355.
355 we had it, okay.
Yeah, okay? So, we're good there. Just, anybody have any?
You say that includes the complete total of 271? Okay.
And I think going forward, if we need be, that Mark and our offices could split the yearly cost, and we probably could
Within your budget?
within our budget.
With it being in a service to county residents, we could probably just put it in central purchasing. I mean, it costs the taxpayers the same amount of money, just like postage.
Either way, I mean, you
Just
guys
like
can work
postage,
that
it's
out.
just in one place, and I would be able to keep track of the costs, and you wouldn't have to budget it and split it and
Okay.
simplify things.
I'm kind of excited about it, actually, that we're able to do this. I mean, it's
I asked
kind of what
the,
our priorities and goals were to do things we normally can do.
Right, right.
Without raising taxes.
We had looked at this years ago, when I first started, we looked at this and were not able to do it because of the money situation and,
there was a surveyor that came in, and I'm guessing he was about 30, and I asked him, I said, would you be here if all these were available online? He goes, absolutely not. He says, I'd be sitting at home, I wouldn't have drove to Harlan to find these things.
Well, if you think it fits within the scope and we have enough funds, I will make a motion that we approve the project and let her move forward with it.
Get on the
before we
list.
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion from Darren to approve the request for the COT imaging,
Second.
second by Charlie. Any other questions? Charlie, everything else?
and I don't.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Motion carried. What was I gonna add?
Now, next week I'll put on the agenda for all the ARPA applications.
Yeah,
I
because,
mean, we know
right, because we had several
in theory how we're gonna fund
that
it.
we talked about or said go ahead with the project, but to formalize it so we can keep track of all this, Mark was putting all the building and grounds items together.
Angeles.
So, or Angeles, yeah, correct.
So
With your direction.
Give
We're
her
not gonna
credit.
talk about the other applications today?
No,
Okay.
I
Just,
didn't put anything on there to do that.
So am I approved to go ahead and let Don at COT
Yep.
Systems know and so
Yep.
we can go ahead with it?
And then find out, like, when you're gonna need, didn't you say half now? And
Right.
the other half when it's finished?
Right,
And it could be several months,
right.
once it starts.
Once it starts,
And he thought he could start in a few months, is that
I
correct?
said it could take 3 to 4 months, didn't he?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So I'll check on
Tell
that.
him we're giving him a deadline, 4 months.
Okay,
I got
4.
one other thing I had to check. Because, just so everybody knows, and I can talk about this again Monday, but we received, we're allotted 2.2 million. We've received $1,112,402. So I went through all the approved projects that have been approved by request, and then I added in the requests that we haven't acted on. And that was today's, the supervisor's room, and the building and
Capital
grounds
expenditures.
requests that you're coming with. And the total come to 1.103.
Oh, really? So we've got most of it
Yeah,
spent?
so anything else that we approve after next Tuesday, because those are requests we already have in there, people are gonna have to know there's no money till after July 1st. Okay? Because I had Angel go through and talk to the requests that I've already approved, and how much money they expected to be using prior to July 1st. That's how I come up with this. Because I don't want to be spending money or approving things.
Well, and we don't have to approve the full amounts either.
Right, but we're okay.
Mark had some stuff in his that actually would have qualified,
Yeah.
like we were gonna use some funds from.
Yeah, and I actually took a few of the ones that Mark had, like the sewer
This-
for 100,000
Yeah.
in the future. That would be in a future one if we want
Yes.
to do that.
Well, and weren't we gonna use the funds from their donation for this room here?
It'd be about 60,000 of the 100,000.
Yes, it was 40. I got that included in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I have that included in there.
100,000 for the sewer sounds like a lot to me. Did you just?
I
pull
just
that out
threw a number.
Okay, all
I
right.
didn't know.
That sounds extremely high to me.
I know.
I think it's about twice as much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
The only
Yeah.
thing I know, if you have to tear the street up, that's half the cost of the
Yeah,
project.
you know some people, so.
Yeah. Anyway, just want to give you a background. So we're setting good as we are right now.
Yeah.
And through Monday, Tuesday. Okay?
All right.
Thank you,
Cheryl.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
It's for
next on
next
the
week's
agenda
meeting.
is board approval of the storm shelter remodel at Country Care Center. Now, all this is, I talked with Kathy yesterday, all this is they're applying for a grant to get money to fix up the storm shelter down there. In order to apply for the grant, they need our permission that they can do work down there. There's not gonna be any county money involved with this.
Because they're county buildings.
Right, because it's county lit building that we lease to. So that's all this is. She's put together a letter that if we approve this, that it's okay, they update it. And
They haven't been approved for the grant, they need
they're
this.
applying for it,
Okay,
okay?
They need our signature first.
so we don't have any, it's not our responsibility to keep that building up to a certain, okay.
No,
And I think her request that was for like heating and,
no, that's a different one. That's
that's
for
a
the
separate
ARPA.
one.
That's an ARPA one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep, yep.
Excuse me,
And we'll talk about that one on Tuesday,
Yep.
okay.
okay? This
All
is
right.
just so she
Just for
can
that
move forward
storm
with the
shelter.
grant.
All right, very
Yep.
good.
So do I have a motion to do that? I don't have a problem with it.
Make the motion.
Motion by Charlie,
Second.
second by Darren. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Budget discussion, new software.
The new software, everything gets shut down on the 12th and no entries will be made, I believe, till the 17th. Maybe a little later. We cannot do any data entry in our financial software until they get it done. They're guessing 5 days, but we'll see.
Is that gonna put a bind on you guys?
We've notified all the departments and it could put a bind on some departments. It really could, but,
Is this a weekend?
yeah.
Would you say the 12th it goes down? That's
Yeah.
Wednesday. So it should be up and running by the following Monday?
Right, so I'm scrambling, whatever. I'm not complaining.
Never a good time to do it.
No.
Okay.
They've got new accounts being created at mental health and the debt service fund needs new accounts created.
So does that mean that like the treasurer's office is shut
They
down?
cannot accept cash, or they
Payments.
can accept it, but they can't actually put it into the system
it?
and
Okay.
deposit it.
So they are still open for business? They
Oh,
just-
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any budget items?
No, the debt services created another challenge with the Department of Management. They're just always so helpful. Once you learn who to talk to, they just help you right away.
I have a couple questions on the budget. One, so everybody knows, I don't remember if we talked about this at the last meeting, but we're doing negotiations with the union on February 1st. So that would be our 2 meetings from now, right after the meeting, like 9:30, okay? Hopefully, we'll get that wrapped up fairly soon. And then we can establish what the wages will be plugged into our budget. That's the only thing
I've
we're
got
really
all those
waiting for.
budget sheets separated and highlighted, so I know what areas have to be marked up and re-entered. But the cool thing is, I went through with the software company, just so you guys know, and it's gonna be a bit easier process in updating things
Good.
with the new software. It's not like a 10-step process like it is now.
Good.
Yeah, I know, that's encouraging, except for I don't know how to do it.
And then because we're waiting, we pretty much have everything else done, we're waiting to where wages go so we can plug that in. For the board here, what's our drop dead date that we have to determine a salary
The,
cost?
the deal is, the way I
Because of your
understand it,
publications.
over the years, past 5 years, the 20 days before the deadline, March 31st, if we have our final hearing within 20 days and somebody protests the budget, it's gonna go over our due date, because you have to go
But we
through
can't
some-
help for that.
Huh?
We can't help for that if that would happen.
No,
'Cause you can't
but if
predict
but
that.
if you had the final budget hearing today, you've got time to get this fixed before March 31st.
Okay.
That's what the
If
deal
they did
is.
protest, but
But we wouldn't
where
have
we sit
time.
right now, if somebody protests, we are gonna go over, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what,
But that happened before. We had a publication that didn't get published, and I had to get an extension right at the deadline, but you have to write a letter of explanation why that happened.
so what is the date we definitely don't wanna go over? Is it March 1st? Is it February
We
15th?
can't with the publication.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it's the middle of March. I've got it written down upstairs. all the
So if we
things
did
that I
go,
went through.
if we had a target for ourselves,
If I could get
of March
everything
1st.
done that week, okay, February 1st is a Tuesday, we could meet the next Monday, possibly. I
if
could
we
get-
got negotiations wrapped up that week.
If they were wrapped up.
Okay,
And we could get started, and on Monday, we would set a publication date for the max levy hearing. I could reserve a spot at the newspaper for both publications. Then after the max levy hearing, the same meeting, you would do the final budget,
okay. Okay,
unless somebody protested at the max levy hearing,
so we'll know a lot more after February 1st.
which would put everything out another
Where we're
20
at.
days if somebody did protest.
So you're talking maybe be done by March 11th, somewhere in there.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be a perfect world.
Yeah.
Another thing for, and maybe you already have this on there, but for the next meeting, the 18th, we need to have that master matrix resolution on there.
Yes.
That's on there, okay. Comp board, be coming down the road here. And then we'll be looking at those requests from ARPA next
Right.
Tuesday.
And the comp board will be the first meeting after negotiations. Correct?
Any thoughts?
I really don't.
Doesn't matter to me.
I mean, unless that's gonna delay it,
It won't delay the budget.
it won't, okay.
Well, because you could put numbers in there. I guess, yeah, it would, because I have to publish
What's,
the elected officials' wages. Well, we could put them high enough so you could always drop them
But-
back down.
I don't see a problem with letting them come in sooner.
I don't
Steve.
either now.
I really
yeah.
don't.
Remember, we're on the 1st, he wants to start, he being Mike Galloway, wants to start, and the union is set up for 9:30, so we don't want a lot of stuff on the, a lot of items on the, do we want the com board to come the 18th next week?
I think that would be good.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. That's fine.
Guys, help me out. It's
You okay with that?
How it works out
Okay.
Can we talk to Rod, is he?
with your wishes.
Okay.
That's what I'll do.
And if it
I'll invite
doesn't,
Rod and we can tell him not to show, because I'm sure he's a busy guy.
Well, and
well,
if
or
Frank,
he can come the 1st, then we just have to not have as much stuff on there. You know, it'll probably take 10 minutes or something.
it doesn't have to be him either, Frank can
Right.
do it.
Be good if somebody that was at the meeting.
Right, well, Frank was on the second phone call. He wasn't at the initial meeting, but
Okay, anybody got anything else?
I do
Not-
not.
Okay.
No, not.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.